to explain accumulation and assignment of costs for different function. Another books, some of the book that call this as a cost classification. Okay, so it's a standard for management accounting. Chapter 2 will going to be cost classification. Some books, this book, they use cost accumulation and cost assignment. Okay, to discuss relevant cost terms and concept. To explain cost accumulation for the purpose of stock valuation, and to explain cost accumulation for the purpose of decision making, and to explain the cost accumulation for the purpose of planning and all. So these are the 3 learning outcome under topic 2. You will be able to understand cost accumulation and cost assignment and what are the relevant and irrelevant costs. Okay, some of the book is called relevant costs or irrelevant costs. Okay, and then cost accumulation for purpose of stock valuation and profit reporting, cost accumulation for the purpose of decision making, and finally planning and control. So these are the 3 purposes that covered in your learning outcome. Okay, what is actually cost accumulation? Cost assignment, cost classification. Okay, so there are 3 terms here. Okay, so that's why some of the book, they prefer chapter 2 is a cost classification. And this book is cost accumulation and cost assignment. But basically, they covered all of these 3 in that chapter. So cost accumulation is to identify, to measure, and record cost information. That is cost accumulation. We identifying the cost. Is that fixed cost? Is that variable cost? And how to measure and how to record the cost information. Cost assignment. We assign the cost to the cost object. Cost object is the products. Okay, cost item. How you assign? Product cost, period cost, manufacturing cost, direct material, direct labor. Okay, and once again, how we classified the cost, arrangement of the cost item into logical group. Sometimes it's going to be fixed cost also under cost assignment, fixed cost under cost classification, because that is going to use either for the cost object or for the group. So this is basically the introduction of cost accumulation, cost assignment, and also cost classification. Okay, this is very important before you go to every of the methods in management accounting. The first thing is you must understand the basic terms of the cost, costing terms and concept. Okay, so what is cost? Expenses. Okay, is an expenses incurred for producing goods and services. Cost object, any item or activities. That separate measurement of cost that can be traced. Okay, that is cost object. So actually that is the products. Direct cost, cost directly identified to the cost object. Okay, and if you look at the indirect cost, cost that cannot be directly identified to the cost object again. So actually cost object, if me, is that item lah, okay, the products that we're going to produce. Okay, conversion cost, cost other than material costs. Okay, direct material plus bit direct labor to convert from material to finished goods. Job costing, specific costing system that's we're going to cover in the topic 3, 4, 5. Topic 5 and 6, and this one is topic 7. Okay, specific costing system, process costing, continuous order costing system. So these are the basic terms. Okay, basic cost term and concept in management accounting. So when the book or the information mention cost object, janganlah bingung sangat kan, cost object tu yang product tu lah, or any item, any activities, maybe services. We want to find out, let's say, to produce one item, we want to produce one item. Okay, for example, we want to produce one item. So that item can be cost object. To produce this product, there are 5 steps. So the first step, it also can be cost object number 1, cost object number 2, depends on item, depends on the activities, okay, and depends on the product. We want to find out what are the costs to that cost object. This cost object, it's either the item, the products, or maybe activities on how to produce that products. Because we want to find out how much we spend to produce this product, this cost object. What are the activities? There are 5 activities. Activity 1, what are the costs? Okay. In activity 1, is there direct cost? Is there any indirect cost? Okay. And up to activity 5, almost going to finish good. Okay. So it's going to be conversion cost. Any questions so far? Ada soalan? Any question? Hello?
No questions, Doctor. No questions, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Hanif. Manager need to need cost information for the purpose of stock valuation and profit determination, or for decision making, or for planning and controlling. Okay, so this is the reason of why we need to classify the cost. Okay, why? Because we want to know the value of the cost of goods sold, for instance, the value of the inventories, and how about profit and loss? And from that, how we're going to decide. Are we going to proceed with this product, or are we going to drop? Are we going to increase the selling price or reduce the price? And then we plan and control the alternatives or the actions. Okay, so this is basically, okay, this is basically cost for stock valuation and profit determination. Okay, I want to highlight on this one, these two. Okay, product cost, period cost. This is actually cost classification number 1, product cost. Normally, product cost is also a manufacturing cost. Okay, so if they say manufacturing cost, that actually product cost. Number 2, period cost. Period cost is also known as non-manufacturing costs. And what are the type of product costs? Prime cost. This is another number 2. And prime cost consists of, sorry, this is number 3. Prime cost consists of direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. Okay, so actually we have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of costs, right? Production and overhead. Another classification of product costs or manufacturing costs. So what are the type of production overhead? Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Okay, so this one also sometimes called it manufacturing overhead. MO, manufacturing overhead. Period costs. These are the example of period costs. Administrative expenses and selling and distribution expenses. Okay, so before we go to all of the job order costing, process costing, activity-based costing, cost volume profit analysis, and all that. Okay, the first thing is you're able to identify what are the product costs. Okay, product costs, actually the prime cost plus with manufacturing overhead. That is actually product cost. But what are prime costs? Prime cost is direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. And how about manufacturing overhead or production overhead? It's an indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Okay, so this is product cost. Period cost, there are only two categories of period cost, which is administration and selling and distribution expenses. What are the example of administrative expenses? Rental of the office. Okay, rental of the office, office, that is administrative expenses. Rental for the manufacturing, it will going to fall into here. MO. Okay, so please able to identify product cost, all of the costs that involve with the production. Period cost, all of the administrative and selling expenses. Okay, that is cost for stock valuation and profit determination. If I'm too fast, okay, just stop me. So element of the product cost. So once again, direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses. That's how you derive the prime cost. Plus with the manufacturing overhead, or just now is production overhead, then that's how you derive with total manufacturing cost or total product cost. Dia macam pusing-pusing. Okay. So once again, manufacturing costs are the direct labor, the direct material. These two plus, that will be cost utama, the prime cost. Conversion cost, like I mentioned just now, direct labor plus with the MO, and then that is actually conversion cost. So in your midterm or in your quiz, maybe they'll give you some calculation, some situation. So what is the prime cost? Okay, so maybe they give you, this one is 10 ringgit, this one is maybe 5 ringgit, and this one is maybe 8 ringgit. The total manufacturing cost is how much? 20? Chiwan? Chiwan still here? So the product cost is 10 plus 5 plus 8. So the total product cost is how much? Hello, guys. Berapa tu? Yes, good. 23. That is actually manufacturing cost or product cost. Let's say the question said calculate prime cost. So, prime cost tu berapa? How much is the prime cost?
15.
Yes, very good. Very good. 10 plus with 5. Direct material plus with direct labor. So it's 15. So calculate the conversion cost. So the conversion cost is
13. 13.
13. So this is another common question in your quiz, in your midterm. Okay. Why? Because you must able to identify product cost, number 1. You are able to identify the period cost, that is the number 2. Okay, and then you are able to calculate the product cost based on all the classification of the cost. Okay, so what is prime cost? Prime cost is direct material plus with direct labor. What is conversion cost? Direct labor plus with manufacturing overhead. So I hope this is clear. So I repeat again on this one. Okay. Cost for stock valuation and profit determination. The first thing is you're able to differentiate product cost versus period cost. What are the classification of product cost, prime cost, and production or manufacturing overheads? So what are the item of prime cost? Direct material, plus direct labor, plus direct expenses. And what are MO? Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. And these are the 2 types of period cost. So if we are paying rental of premises for office administration, then that rental will be under period cost. If we are paying another rental, but rental is for the manufacturing, okay, and then that rental will be fall under manufacturing overhead. Okay, so please really able to differentiate between product cost and period cost. So any question?
No, Doc.
Okay, so normally we not give any format or formula in your final exam. Okay, so you have to memorize all of this format. Okay, so this is an example of cost of good manufacturing. Okay, we want to find out what is actually the product cost. What are all the production costs? So in details, when we report into statement, okay, so it's going to be started with raw material stock at 1st March, raw material purchase, okay. This one actually the total, minus with the ending stock. This one actually beginning stock or beginning inventory. It's either beginning stock or beginning inventory. And this one actually closing stock or closing inventory. Ignore my ugly writing. Cost of raw material consumed plus with these 2 prime costs, direct labor, direct expenses. Okay, and plus with the manufacturing overhead. Okay, and we minus with all work in progress. And cost of good manufactured is 390,000. So how much will be the cost per unit or per set? Is going to be 5,200. Okay, and then there's another types of cost of goods sold statement. If it's a manufacturing, and then we're going to use this schedule. If it's in short, if we summarize it, it's going to be this schedule, this statement. So all in all, you're going to get actually the same amount. By right, okay. This one is another example of cost of good statement. Okay, let's refresh back what we have learned in your income statement. Okay, basically the format of the income statement is sales minus cost of goods sold is a less. That's how you derive the gross margin. minus with the selling price and administrative, then that's we get the net profit. So this is the format of the income statement. Chapter 2, for all of the format is going like a revision for you. Okay. Once again, this format is not given in your final exam. Okay. Cost for decision making. Remember the purpose of the cost valuation, cost classification. The number 2 is for decision making. So in this decision making, we're going to decide. Are we going to produce this item, these products? Okay. Why? Because we want to find out what are the fixed costs to proceed or to produce this item. What will be the variable cost? And is there any semi-variable cost? Okay, so at the end, what we want to find out, same thing actually, we want to find out what will be the cost per unit. Okay. So these are the illustration of the fixed cost. Like I mentioned just now, we are paying the rental at 1,500. So even though we are selling the same amount, it's either decrease or increase. It's going to be still fixed cost of 1,500. We're still paying the rental at 1,500, even though the numbers is increase or decrease. But it's different with the variable cost. Okay, the more you spend, okay, the more you produce, the higher will be the cost. Okay. If we produce 5,000, the cost is 25,000. If we produce at 15,000 units, the cost will increase to 75,000. That is variable cost. Okay, and the last one, for the purpose of why we need to do the classification of the cost, because of the relevant and irrelevant cost that I mentioned just now. Okay, so before we decide, are we going to produce product A, or are we going to produce product B? How are we going to decide? Definitely, we're going to look into the cost first thing. And the second one is the profit or loss. Okay, but before we decide, we're going to identify is that cost is relevant in our decision making or the cost is irrelevant. Okay, all of the relevant costs are the variable cost, opportunity cost, incremental cost, replacement cost. These are all relevant in our decision making. But those type of costs like sunk costs, fixed overhead, and non-cash item, these are non-irrelevant in our cost. For example, like depreciation. Okay, depreciation is only involved with value of the assets, but it's not involved with cash. So that's why depreciation is one of the non-cash item and irrelevant in our decision making in management accounting. Same goes with the same cost. Same cost is like past cost, okay, historical cost. In management accounting, we ignore the sunk cost. That's why it's become irrelevant cost in the decision making. And for planning and controlling, okay, we want to find out what are the costs that we can control and costs that we cannot control, unavoidable costs. Okay, so that is decision. That is the purpose of cost classification when assisting us in planning and controlling in management accounting. Okay, so I wanted to find out what are the type of controllable costs, uncontrollable costs. I mean the example of controllable and uncontrollable costs. Same goes with all this one. Apalah maksud ni, apalah ni, apa ni, apa ni. Okay. So please try to do tutorial 2 that I share in our ITEL.
我點樣打俾我點啊？
沒有. Siapa tu? Okay, so any question? Any question?
No, doctor.
Flo.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. I recognize Flo voice. Sebab yang menjawab kalau bukan Flo, Hanif, Chiwan, siapa lagi? No question from Nur Shasrina.
Doctor, I have a question. Okay,
Yes.
for tutorial 1 that we did just now, do we have to submit the answers in ITEL or just it was just a revision just now?
All of the tutorial, it's all a revision.
Oh, okay,
Unless for certain question, I will ask you to submit in ITEL. Certain question with certain topics only.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Any more question before we end our today class?
Doctor, just to inform you, as of now, for the date, for the time actually for the quiz next week on Tuesday, already around 25 people voted for 11 to 12. So I'm just informing you, Doctor, since the majority has voted for 11 to 12, I think we can do the quiz for next week, Tuesday, from 11 to 12. If there's any objection from the students, maybe someone can raise up the objection in the chat or just voice out.
Yeah. So any objection from you? Because I have no problem to set the quiz, online quiz 1 will be on 22nd, actually 21st October, Tuesday, 11 to 12. Okay, so since it's a majority vote, so that will be the fixed time and date for the quiz. So once again, okay, to avoid any complaints or any issue, you have 1 week to find out and to find efforts to settle if you have unstable connection of your internet at your place. Okay, please find place that you are able to do the quiz within 1 hour without any issue. Okay, so 21st October is Tuesday. So thank you, Hanif, for the initiative to set on the time and also for the cooperation from everyone. Okay, so we settle on the quiz. Okay, if you have any objection, please do so before end of this week, because I will set that by this week. Okay, and next week I will only show that item to students. Okay, week 3 and week 4. And for reminder, next week, week 3 and week 4 is going to be a PTG class. Okay, so I expect a full attendance and there is no excuses that you miss to click your attendance, because I'm going to give you 5 days of time frame to click your attendance, and it's a self-learning. Only that for the quiz is going to be set on 21st October, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, so let's recap what we have done today. We do the tutorial 1. Okay, and we recap what we have in chapter 1. and we briefly covered chapter 2, which is the cost classification. Okay, you have the basic idea on the product cost versus period cost. Okay, all of the type of costs that we're going to assist either for decision making, for planning and controlling, and also for stock valuation. And that's why you learn on all of the formats. Okay, statement of goods sold, statement of goods manufacturing. Okay, because that is the purpose of stock valuation. Okay, and we also set on the quiz, and you have the ideas on your assignment now. Okay, so I will share the cost delivery plan and as well as the assignment in our ITEL by today. Okay, so if you have any question, you can post in our WhatsApp group. If you are so shy and scared to ask that question in that group, you can PM Hanif to ask and to get the answer from me, or you can directly PM me. Okay. So those who are celebrating Deepavali next week, happy Deepavali, and see you online class face to face next 2 following weeks. Okay. So bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye.